So I'm going to ask you to do something. Close your eyes. Promise this is not a hypnosis session. Now open them. Imagine you just woke up, as we did, and you are the hero of your story. That's exactly what happens. I'm the hero of my story. You are the heroes of your stories, just like the pilots who flew us all here from all over the world are the heroes of theirs. This is the main and first rule you'll learn as a writer. To make your characters real, you must understand that all of them perceive themselves as the protagonists. Unless you do that, your stories will be boring and superficial. I would know, I have written a lot of stories like that myself. The genres of our life stories vary. Our life story can be a comedy, a drama, a tragedy, an adventure story, a love story, even a science fiction story. As I was listing these genres, how many of you recalled certain episodes in your life and how they fit into these categories? So, several years ago, I climbed Mountain Ararat. This is a mountain that has a special significance for the Armenian people. It was a dream come true, challenging, sometimes scary, sometimes thrilling, and just such a fulfilling experience. I've also jumped with parachutes, gone paragliding, and have otherwise spent too much time and resources finding elevations and jumping off. Why? Initially, I wasn't going to tell you, but given we're all friends here, I will confess that I am actually terrified of heights, and that's just how I confront my fears. So I climbed a mountain, and a very special one at that. Does it mean there are no more mountains to climb? Of course not. Every mountain we climb, every novel we write, every parachute jump we make, every achievement we have, it just turns another page in our personal book of Odyssey. And every new page and every new chapter contains new mountains, new opportunities, challenges, heights to aspire to, or heights to fall from. So just as each and every one of us are heroes of our stories, so are our countries. In 2018, my country, Armenia, went through a peaceful transition, which we called the Velvet Revolution. What started as a small grassroots movement against corruption and one-party forever rule very quickly enveloped the entire country, every region, every community. April 23, several weeks of peaceful protests and demonstrations later, the Prime Minister resigned. This led to nationwide celebrations and festivities you could only compare to winning the World Cup. We don't know anything about winning the World Cup. We haven't won any, and not being pessimistic, not likely to win any. We did win a number of chess Olympiads, but unfortunately, chess players are notoriously more reserved in their celebrations. At the time of the peaceful transition, I was working at Armenia's largest humanitarian foundation, leading the development projects there. Within the 11 years I was there, I helped bring to life over $250 million worth of projects, building schools and hospitals and roads and other vital infrastructure. What was fascinating to observe was that while the material conditions of the people improved, their disconnect with the authorities deepened, as did their dissatisfaction with how their voices and votes were ignored. April 23, 2018 was the day I believed deeply, profoundly, that democracy had arrived. This was after years of participating in every demonstration and protest, all the way back to those against the Soviet rule. During those, I was 5 years old and enjoyed the proceedings from a very comfortable place, sitting on my father's shoulders. So, given my background and my love of jumping, I almost immediately resigned from my job at the foundation and jumped at the opportunity of joining the newly reopened National Democratic Institute. Here, I lead programs supporting multi-party democracy, free and fair elections, as well as inclusion of youth and women, especially from the regions of Armenia. 2019, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for me. I got married. It was also a very good year for Armenia. Over 90% of people were optimistic about Armenia's future, and over 80% approved of the government. Amazing. The reforms were slow and the progress uneven, but people appreciated that the new class of politicians looked so much more like them and not like the oligarchs who had run the country for decades before that. The new politicians were seen as inexperienced but honest, and people were willing to give them a chance to get things right. Then came 2020. COVID-19, 44-day war in Nagorno-Karabakh, political crisis, snap elections, security crisis, political crisis, security crisis, and so on. Reality kept hitting Armenia on the head with a blunt object, let's call it the sledgehammer of reality. Armenia's democratic journey was not just incomplete, it was and still is under threat of failing altogether. Today, when you ask Armenians about the meaning of democracy, they actually struggle to define it. They like aspects of it, such as freedom of speech and free and fair elections. At the same time, they are worried that free speech too quickly turns into hate speech. And people that are elected in these free and fair elections just do not do their job. Democracy must deliver. Unless it does, the risk of backsliding is a near certainty. Or to put it in a story format, the valiant hero defeats the dragon only to become one. So here we are, 6 years after the peaceful transition. And Armenia is grappling with these realities. At the same time, Armenia is ready to persevere. People are ready to forge their new path of sovereignty and independence, even in a very exquisitely autocratic neighborhood. And one thing they know, they don't want to go back. This is Armenia's democratic hero's journey. Life as a story tells us that this journey will never truly end. Just like climbing Mountain Ararat, it is a challenging, sometimes exciting, scary, but fulfilling experience. All of us must be ready to continue this odyssey, strive for democracy, and pass it on to the next generation. This is what my team and I do day after day, year after year. This is what each and every one of you has dedicated your life to. We are the heroes of our stories, but we are not alone. We are in this together. So let's support each other on this never-ending journey. Cheers to all of you and all your countries. Let the Odyssey continue and let the dream of democracy prevail. Thank you.